What it do? Yo man, listen. Today, I want to talk about whether to spend or not to spend for a guild raid comp. Let's get right into it. Now, there's something I like to call the dolphin mindset. For those of you who don't know or understand the term dolphin, essentially the way it works, they're the normal players. There are the whales. Whales spend a lot of money on the game. And there are dolphins. Dolphins are the ones who spend a moderate amount of money, that is more than your average player who might buy one or two things. However, this expenditure is significantly lower than what whales spend. The most common thing dolphins spend money on is spending money to unlock a good meta guild raid team, and then that is their only expenditure. Now, when doing this, it's important to set expectations correctly. First things first, of course, you want to spend money, if you're going to do it, on a good raid team, right? You don't want to spend money on, I don't know, Thaddeus Noble as your main damage dealer, because that's just not going to perform to the extent you want it to. Secondly, it's important to understand that nothing will last forever. The people who spend money on Mogun Raw got power crept by Ragnar Blackmane. The people who spend money on Ragnar Blackmane got power crept by Exor Row. We have been in an Exor Row meta for the past 8 to 9 months, which is a long time. However, at some point, it is safe to say something will power creep Exor Row. So it's important to keep this in mind, because if you're thinking it's like, hey, I'm just going to spend this money one time, I'm going to get the best raid team, and that raid team is going to be the best raid team forever until the end of time, that is simply not true. It is not going to happen. At some point, your meta team will get power crept by something that is new, or by a strategy that is using the already existing characters that the community just discovered. Now, should you do it? Should you spend money to unlock a raid team, to do a lot of damage, and then not spend it? I mean, maybe. It depends on you. You know your disposable income more than I know it. If you play Tacticus a lot and if you have a disposable income, sure, why not? However, if you are maybe, I don't want to say newer player, but maybe you aren't like super experienced, you should spend to enable yourself. What does that mean? First things first, you have to beat the campaigns, okay? The campaigns have to be beaten. There is no exception to this. Every single player needs to beat the campaigns. Campaigns let you farm upgrade materials, which is like the most important thing in the game. You need to beat the elite campaigns, because elite campaigns are so efficient when it comes to energy that it is an absolute waste to not unlock them. If you keep playing normal campaigns while you have the ability to unlock elite campaigns and you're not doing so, that's not good. Third thing is leveling up Eldryon, Athena, Elfnul, and Bellator. Now you might be asking, Draupnir, why are we doing this? First things first, Eldryon is the best character in the game. He's usable in every single guild raid team. He makes good teams better. He makes bad teams good. Athena is a good damage dealer. Well, that's not really true. Her passive is extremely good. She is a must-take against the Rogaldorn battle tank, because she does essentially give you 100% crit chance on your units. Elfnul is required to beat the elite campaign for Indomitus Mirror Elite. Bellator is good everywhere in the game. There's no exception to how good Bellator is. After all of this is done, you need to decide what to commit on. Now, wide versus tall. What this means is your ability to level up your characters. There are a lot of people saying wide rosters are better. What do I mean by wide rosters? It's like, oh, you know, all my characters are gold 1, or all my characters are silver 3, or whatever. Tall is having like 80 characters and having 5 of them diamond 3, and the other ones, they're like silvers, bronzes, whatever. For guild raids, if you have the option between 2 gold 1 teams or 1 diamond team, you should choose the diamond team. When it comes to guild raids, it is strictly better to have 1 super high level team than multiple low level teams. Because as you develop your roster, you will start killing bosses, and as you kill bosses, you will fight higher and higher tier bosses. They will get more difficult, they will do more damage. At some point, your gold characters will start falling off like flies. It is very smart, it is very recommended to get a tall roster when it comes to guild rates to make it so you can bully bosses. Because think of it this way, if you have diamond mechanical team or whatever, you can just like face roll over most things, like until epic and legendary. You can just do whatever and you probably won't die just through sheer stat checking the raid bosses. Additionally, it's important to make sure your characters work the way you think they work, right? Like watch a video, test them in game, whatever. Because if you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna use a multi-hit team, and I'm gonna use the what's his name, the Tyrant Prime or Tyrant Prime because he has 6 hits and someone's 2. Like, is it really that good? Because remember, it's your money and you worked hard to earn it. Do you want to spend it on something without like watching a few videos on it, like making sure? Because it's gonna feel bad if you don't. If you buy it, if you level it up, and you're like, oh, just doesn't do what I want to do. So it's gonna feel bad. I had a similar thing with Revas. I leveled her up. I kind of just wish I didn't because she's not really that like amazing. Now, planning it out is important. It sounds very straightforward, right? Like when I'm recording this video, the second Karn the Betrayer event is, starting around this time. Now, if you're gonna spend money to unlock Karn the Betrayer, okay, you probably have Eldrion, or you have a direct way to get Eldrion because every player has that. You have a direct way to get Athena, sure. Now you have Karn the Betrayer, cool. But if you don't have Ragnar, he is infinitely less good. If you don't have Anshi plus Rangar, he is so much worse. And Athena, sure, she benefits the crits for Ragnar, Karn's passive, but she's not gonna give the 400 damage boost for the 8 hits Karn gets from his passive, right? Because remember, they are different damage stats. So just because a character is good doesn't mean he's good for you specifically. So I understand, right? Like Karn is a super cool character. He's like really good, and you might want to buy him. Oh, I'm gonna spend the money. I'm gonna get him. But like, is he really gonna be able to perform as well as he will be able to with a Ragnar Blackmane and a Anshi? Like he won't, right? He's gonna be significantly weaker. He's gonna do significantly less damage. So it's important to take into account what you have. If you're willing to spend money on characters, you should spend money to get characters that will give you more in the future. For example, Rothbone, Isabella, some other characters I don't remember. These are all good investments because if you have like a Diamond Rothbone, what's gonna happen is your legendary release events in the future will be significantly easier. So you won't have to spend money on the legendary release events themselves. Same thing with Isabella, right? Because they exist exclusively to facilitate you beating the legendary release events and unlocking the characters. They will be way more helpful than an individual raid character, right? Like, of course, it's your money. I can't stop you. It's just I want you to be informed. I want you to make a right decision when it comes to spending the money, right? Ragnar team, Exoro, Neurotrope, these are good teams. You should go after this if you want to do it. Personally, if I were you, I would go the mechanical team. It's very applicable. It's a very good team. It is good potential in the future. Or Ragnar Blackmane comps. If you have Ragnar, maybe you pulled him. Don't spend money to pull, please. Love of God, do not spend money for own requisitions to try and pull Ragnar. That's not going to work. Ragnar, if you have him, he's a very future-proof character. He has a lot of hits. He has a good buff. Despite the fact that Row meta has been in full swing for a while, Ragnar is still a very good character. If you're going to spend money on the Neurotrope team, I probably wouldn't. On this channel, I do give out Neurotrope shards every month. So, you should probably be able to unlock him in a while. Really don't spend money on Neurotrope. Anyways, that's the video. Thank you very much for watching the video. I really appreciate you doing so. Spend your money carefully. Have a good day and stay safe.